Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. If you don't learn to control your mind, your mouth, and your money, then life will control you. The mind, your mind, is the beginning of everything. Before you build a business, before you heal a relationship, before you change your life, you must first change your thinking. Everything you will ever do, become, or achieve begins in the quiet, invisible space between your ears. The world outside can be chaotic, unpredictable, unfair, but the world within the mind, that's where you still have the power. And if you don't take control of that power, someone else will. See, the mind is not just a tool. It's the command center. Your thoughts are instructions to your destiny. They are blueprints. Every great invention, every great building, every great act of courage started as a thought. So if you want to change your life, if you want to move forward, if you want peace, power, purpose, then you've got to get your thoughts in line. You've got to stop letting distractions and doubt camp out in your head like they pay rent. Because they don't, and they cost you everything. Now listen closely. Your mind will follow whatever it's fed. If you feed it negativity every day, news that drains you, conversations that pull you down, environments that tell you it's impossible, then your mind starts to believe that's your reality. But you were not created for defeat. You were created to think higher, to live higher, to believe beyond what you see. That's why renewing your mind is not a one-time thing. It's daily, it's intentional. Just like you feed your body, you have to feed your mind with wisdom, with discipline, with truth. You want to know why some people seem unstoppable? It's not because they don't feel fear. It's because they've trained their minds to move through fear. They've decided, no matter what's in front of me, I won't let it shake what I believe about who I am and what I'm called to do. That kind of thinking, it's not natural, it's cultivated, it's worked on. It's sharpened through reading, through praying, through writing down your goals, through guarding your peace. But the opposite is also true. A lazy mind becomes a dangerous mind. An untrained mind is a playground for failure. Because when you don't direct your thoughts, you start to drift. And drifting leads to destruction. You stop aiming, you stop growing, and you settle for what life throws at you instead of what you were born to reach for. That's why controlling your mind is not optional. It is essential, especially in a world that's constantly telling you who you should be, what you should fear, what you should chase. Discipline begins in the mind. Before you can stop bad habits, before you can fix your finances, before you can heal your health, it all starts with a shift in thinking. You have to challenge old patterns. Ask yourself, why do I think like this? Who taught me this? Does this serve me, or is it holding me back? And once you begin asking those questions, you start to build something new. You start to reclaim your power. Let me tell you, focus is a superpower in a distracted world. People jump from idea to idea, from job to job, from thought to thought, but those who win are the ones who lock in. The ones who say, I'm going to learn how to focus my energy. I'm going to train my brain like a soldier, not a civilian. Your mind, once it's focused, can move mountains, but if you let it wander, it will wander you right out of your purpose. This is why I say, your mind is the master key, because with the right mindset, even locked doors will open. Even obstacles become opportunities. Even failure becomes feedback. Because you don't see life as happening to you, you see it happening for you. You stop reacting and you start creating. You stop complaining and you start commanding. Because you realize I don't have to be a victim to my thoughts. I can lead them, but you must be intentional. That means cutting off things that clutter your thinking. That means surrounding yourself with people who sharpen your focus, not scatter it. That means starting your day with purpose before the world gives you its chaos. Read things that challenge you, meditate on what matters, speak to yourself with faith, not fear, and above all, believe that your mind under control is one of the most powerful forces on this planet. You don't have to know everything, you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to decide that you're no longer letting your mind run wild with worry, insecurity, comparison, or doubt. Because the second you take control of your mind, you take back your future. The words you speak are not just sounds, they are forces, carriers of power, and too many people are destroying their future not by what others say to them, but by what they keep saying to themselves. See, your mouth is not just for communication, it's for creation. You speak life and you give breath to your dreams. You speak doubt and you drain your potential. The reality is, the tongue may be small, but it's dangerous. It can start a war, it can end a marriage, it can crush a spirit. or it can build an empire, lift a soul, or ignite a movement. And the problem is, we've become casual with our language. We throw around words like they don't matter. We say, I'm broke, I'm tired, I can't, I'll never, without realizing we're shaping our own reality, because your mouth doesn't just reflect your thoughts, it programs your future. What you speak repeatedly, you start to believe. What you believe, you start to act on, and what you act on becomes your life. So understand this. If you want to elevate your life, you must first elevate your language. You must speak with intention, with vision, with alignment to your purpose. There's no room for self-defeating talk in a life that's called to greatness. You can't speak defeat and expect victory. You can't speak doubt and expect clarity. You can't speak weakness and expect strength. Life responds to the sound of your voice, not just what you say out loud, but what you whisper to yourself when nobody else is around. You know what I've learned. Some of the most dangerous conversations you'll ever have are the ones you have with yourself. When you look in the mirror and say, I'm not enough. When you hear about someone else's success and say, that could never be me. When you face a challenge and say, I'm going to fail. That's not just talk. That's self-sabotage in disguise, because your subconscious mind doesn't have a filter. It doesn't know sarcasm. It doesn't recognize jokes. It believes what you tell it. If you keep saying you're stuck, your brain will go find evidence to prove it. But if you start saying, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there, then your brain goes to work on that belief too. So here's the challenge. Guard your mouth like your future depends on it. Because it does. Ask yourself before you speak, is this building me or breaking me? Is this pushing me forward or pulling me back? Am I speaking like a victim or like a visionary? And I'm not talking about fake positivity. I'm not saying lie to yourself. I'm saying lead yourself, guide your language, discipline your speech, speak the truth, but speak it with power. You can say, I'm struggling right now, and still follow it with, but I know I won't stay here forever. You can say, this is hard, and still declare, but I was built for hard things. And it's not just what you say to yourself, it's what you say to others. Your words can either plant seeds of confidence or scatter seeds of insecurity. One sentence from you can light someone up for the day, or tear them down for a lifetime. So speak with purpose, speak with love, speak with wisdom, because there's always someone listening, including you. The world doesn't need more noise, it needs voices of substance, and your voice can be that, if you learn to use it right. When you walk into a room, let your words elevate the atmosphere. When you speak about your future, let your words sound like prophecy. And when you talk about your dreams, speak like someone who already knows they're possible. Because here's the truth. You can have vision in your heart and doubt in your mouth, and you'll cancel yourself out. That's why some people don't see progress, not because they're not working hard, but because their mouth is out of alignment with their mission. They're planting and plucking at the same time, building and breaking in the same breath. You can't afford that, not in this season, not with the calling on your life, not with the people who are watching you, depending on you, learning from you. You've got to make your mouth match your mindset. You've got to talk like you believe in your calling, like you believe in your ability, like you believe that where you are right now is not the end of your story. So from this moment forward, be mindful of what you say. Cut out the careless negativity, stop rehearsing failure, speak vision, speak discipline, speak peace, speak favor, speak the kind of words that pull you into the life you're trying to create, because when you do that, when your mouth lines up with your mission, your words stop being noise. They become power, they become tools, they become the soundtrack to your success, and that's how you build a life that speaks for itself. Money is a test, a tool, a resource, but it is not a ruler. And the moment you start letting money control your mind, your peace, your relationships, or your decisions, you've already lost control, because money was never meant to master you, it was meant to serve you. It's supposed to work for you, not the other way around. Too many people are chasing money, and they don't even know why. They say it's for freedom, but they become slaves to their income. They say it's for success, but they don't define what success even looks like. They say they want to be rich, but they don't understand wealth. And so the cycle repeats, working more, stressing more, spending more, and staying broke mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Let me tell you something, having money doesn't mean you're free. Freedom comes when you know how to manage it, when you know how to keep it, grow it, give it, and walk away from it when necessary. You can have $1 million and still be in poverty if your mindset is still in lack. That's why mindset comes before money, discipline before dollars, purpose before profit. Money is not evil, let's be clear, but the love of money, that obsession, that addiction, that desperation, that's when people start losing themselves. That's when they compromise. That's when they betray values, relationships, even themselves, all for paper. And paper can't heal your soul. It can't fix your broken character. It can't buy you peace or integrity or legacy. So if you want to win with money, you've got to first decide to see it differently. Stop looking at money as your identity. Stop thinking it defines your worth. It doesn't. It's just a reflection of what you do with what you have. That's it, a mirror. You want to know how a person thinks. Watch how they handle their money. Do they spend recklessly to impress people? Do they save with fear and never enjoy anything? Or do they give generously, invest wisely, and spend with intention? That tells you more than their words ever could. Let me ask you something. Do you have a budget, not just numbers on paper, but a plan with a purpose? Or are you letting money slip through your hands like sand? Because if you don't tell your money where to go, it'll leave quietly, silently, until one day you're asking yourself where it all went, and it didn't go anywhere. You just didn't give it a job. You didn't manage the resource, so the resource mismanaged you. And let's talk about credit, about debt, about the trap that looks like freedom but feels like a prison. Debt will smile at you. It'll give you keys to a new car, a shiny card in your wallet, and a false sense of status. But the bill always comes. And if you're not careful, you'll be paying for things you don't even use anymore, paying for a lifestyle you can't maintain, and all the while your dreams get smaller, not because they're impossible, but because you're buried under interest payments and impulsive decisions. So here's the truth: financial literacy is not optional. It's survival. You need to know how to save, how to invest, how to build credit the right way, how to create multiple streams of income, and how to protect what you build. Because if you don't, someone else will profit off your ignorance. That's real. Nobody teaches us this in school. But if you don't learn it yourself, you'll stay trapped. You want to get ahead, then treat money like a student treats a subject. Study it, master it, respect it, but never fear it, never worship it. Never chase it so hard that you forget your purpose. Because here's the powerful truth. When you walk in purpose, money follows. Opportunities follow. Open doors follow, but when you chase money without vision, it runs from you, because money is not loyal to hustle. It's loyal to wisdom. Don't just work for money, make money work for you. Let your money buy you time, not just things. Let it create margin in your life, space to breathe, to think, to build something that lasts. Use it to bless your family, to lift others, to invest in causes that matter. That's the power of seeing money as a servant. It works, it produces, it moves things forward, but it doesn't own you. You own it. And finally, don't forget to give, not because you're rich, but because you're grateful. Giving resets your heart. It reminds you that money is not your God. It's just a gift, and the more you hold it with open hands, the more you become a vessel for greater things. Money is meant to flow, not be hoarded in fear or thrown around for approval. So don't live for the dollar. Live for the difference you can make with it. Let money work behind the scenes while you walk with purpose out front. Because when money serves you, not rules you, you'll finally understand what wealth really means. You can't say you respect yourself if you have no control over yourself. Discipline isn't just about rules or routines. It's a form of love, real love. It says, I care about my future too much to keep giving in to things that destroy me. Self-control is not punishment. It's protection. It's not restriction. It's direction. Every time you tell yourself no to something that looks good in the moment but steals from your tomorrow, that's strength, that's maturity, that's self-respect. The truth is, we live in a world that celebrates impulse, fast food, fast money, fast validation. Everything is right now. Everything is urgent. Everything is built to keep you chasing, scrolling, spending, reacting. But what they don't tell you is impulse is expensive. It costs your peace. It costs your purpose. It costs your focus, and if you live your life with no brakes, you'll crash into regret. Look, temptation doesn't always show up in the form of something obvious. Sometimes it comes disguised as convenience, as comfort, as just this once. But every decision you make is a seed. It either builds the life you want or pushes it further away. Every time you give in to laziness, to anger, to overindulgence, to negativity, you're handing over control. And once you hand it over enough times, you become a passenger in your own life, just going wherever the feelings take you. But that's not who you are. That's not why you're here. You are not your impulses. You are not your urges. You are not your cravings or your habits or your mistakes. You are the one who can choose, the one who can rise above them. You are the gatekeeper to your own life. And when you take that role seriously, everything changes. Self-control means you understand that just because something is available doesn't mean it's beneficial. Just because you can say it doesn't mean you should. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it fits your assignment. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away, not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know your peace is more valuable than being right. Your purpose is more important than fitting in. Your future is more important than your feelings right now. See, feelings are real, but they're not reliable. You can't build your life on how you feel today, because feelings change. One moment you're up, the next you're down. But decisions, discipline, that's what builds legacy. That's what shapes destiny. Self-control is about keeping your word to yourself, following through when the motivation is gone, holding your ground when the pressure rises, staying focused when distractions come knocking, and they will come. Distractions will always show up dressed like opportunity, but when you know who you are, when you've trained your spirit, when you've sharpened your character, you can spot the trap before it catches you. That's why people with self-control move differently. They don't need applause to keep going. They don't need someone to check on them. They've made a decision, and that decision becomes discipline, and that discipline becomes direction. Let me tell you something real. There will be days when walking in self-control feels like carrying a cross, when everyone around you is compromising and you're the one saying no, when shortcuts look easy and the long road looks lonely. But you have to remember, your destiny is not built in comfort. It's forged in the fire of your decisions, and every time you choose what's right over what's easy, you get stronger, you get clearer, you get closer. Don't confuse freedom with indulgence. True freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. It's having the strength to do what's right, especially when you don't feel like it. That's what separates people who stay stuck from those who rise. One group gives in, the other grows up. So train yourself, train your thoughts, train your emotions, train your appetite, train your reactions, and it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. You're going to mess up, you're going to fall short sometimes, but every time you get back up, every time you course. Correct? You're telling your inner self, I'm worth it, my vision is worth it, my peace is worth it. Self-control is the highest form of freedom. It means you're no longer a slave to your mood, your environment, your past, or your impulses. It means you've taken the wheel, and let me tell you, when you master yourself, the world can no longer master you. So hold your head high, walk with clarity, speak with intention, move with wisdom, and let your actions reflect your respect for who you're becoming. Because when you respect yourself enough to control yourself, you unlock a version of you that nobody can take down. Everything starts in the mind, everything, your habits, your decisions, your relationships, your peace, your problems, your victories, before it shows up in your life, it's been living in your head. That's why if you don't control your mind, your life will always feel out of control. Your mind is the headquarters, the central command. If you don't manage it, you can't manage anything else. The world will tell you it's your background, your education, your connections, your talent. But the real battle, it's always internal. It's the thoughts nobody hears, the beliefs you don't speak out loud, the doubts you wrestle with at 2 a.m. when the noise is gone and it's just you and your mind. And if you're not intentional, your mind can become your enemy. Your mind can lie to you. It can trap you in the past. It can convince you you're not good enough, smart enough, strong enough, or worthy enough, when all of that is false. That's why you've got to take your thoughts captive. You have to train your thinking like you'd train a muscle. You have to feed it what builds you, not what breaks you. Because whether you realize it or not, your mind is always listening, always absorbing, always shaping your future. Every thought is a seed, and if you keep planting fear, don't be surprised when your life grows anxiety. If you keep planting limitation, don't be shocked when you feel stuck. But if you start planting vision, clarity, possibility, your life starts to move in that direction. See, your mind doesn't care what's true, it only cares what's repeated. So if you keep telling yourself you're failing, your mind will believe it, even if you're just learning. If you keep replaying your mistakes, your mind will believe you're broken, even though you're just becoming. But the opposite is also true. You can start to speak truth. You can start to think in alignment with your purpose. You can start choosing thoughts that serve your future, and when you do that, that's when the shift happens. You have to guard your mental environment like your life depends on it, because it does. You can't just let anything walk into your head. You can't entertain every negative thought like it belongs. You can't let comparison, insecurity, or fear live rent free in your mind. You've got to evict those thoughts. You've got to challenge them. Where did this belief come from? Is it even true? Is it serving me, or is it sabotaging me? Most people never ask those questions. They just accept every thought as reality. But not you, not anymore. You've got to build mental discipline. That means limiting your exposure to garbage. What are you watching? What are you listening to? Who are you around? Because if you constantly feed your mind junk, you can't expect clarity. You can't binge chaos and expect peace. You can't hang around small minds and expect big thinking. You've got to curate your mental diet the same way you would your physical one. What you consume becomes what you produce. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about toxic positivity. This isn't about pretending everything is fine. This is about mental ownership, about understanding that while you can't always control what happens around you, you can always choose how you respond. That's power, that's strength. When you can be in a storm and still think clearly. When you can be under pressure and still speak truth to yourself. When everything's falling apart outside, but you stay together inside. That's the kind of mental control that separates average from exceptional. Most people fold under pressure because they never train their mind in peace, but champions, leaders, builders, they work on their mental game every day. Not just when things go wrong, but even when things are good. They don't wait until the fire starts to look for the extinguisher. They keep their thoughts sharp, their focus strong, their perspective in check. And listen, this doesn't mean you never feel fear. It doesn't mean you never get discouraged. It means when those moments come, you don't let them take over. You feel it, you acknowledge it, but you don't live in it. You redirect, you refocus, you remind yourself of who you are, of where you're going, of what you're building, because you know your mind will either be the engine that drives your purpose or the anchor that drowns your progress. So train your mind daily, read, reflect, write, meditate, get around people who stretch you, speak life over yourself, and above all, decide who you are, because when your mind is made up, distractions lose their power. Fear loses its grip. Doubt loses its voice. Your mind is not a trash can, it's a garden. Don't just let anything grow there. Plant intentionally. Cultivate with care, because what grows in your mind will show up in your habits, your relationships, your finances, your destiny. When you master your mind, you don't just change your thoughts, you change your life. So now we've come full circle. Control your mind, your mouth, and your money, because those three things are not just pieces of life, they are your life. Your mind is the headquarters. It's where the battle is won or lost before anything even shows up in your reality. Your mouth, that's your command center. It speaks life or death, builds up or tears down, opens doors or burns bridges. And your money, it's a servant, not your master. It works for you or it works against you, depending on how you treat it. But it all comes back to one word, control. Not the kind of control that chokes or restricts, but the kind that steers, that anchors, that brings freedom through discipline. Because when you control yourself, you respect yourself. When you respect yourself, you honor your future. And when you honor your future, you walk in purpose, not pressure. This world will test you. People will provoke you. Life will throw distractions and delays your way. But if your mind is steady, your words are wise, and your money is managed, you are unshakable. You become a force. Not because you're perfect, but because you're principled. Not because you're the loudest, but because you're grounded. This is not just about success, it's about legacy. It's about building something within that lasts beyond the noise. Because real power isn't in the flex, it's in the focus. Real strength isn't in what you control outside, it's in how you lead yourself inside. So starting today, take full ownership, train your mind. Guard your mouth, steward your money, and walk like someone who knows exactly who they are, what they carry, and where they're going. Because the person who controls their mind, mouth, and money controls their destiny.